Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where three guys come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I am joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And X-Man.
Hey, everybody.
So what are we talking about this week?
I've got the $1 million question today.
Oh, okay.
Here it goes. Are you ready? I need a little drum roll. It's going to be
an awful drum roll.
What's going on with customer service? Now I need a little clap.
Okay.
We're bringing service back. Whoop! You mother don't know how to act.
Oh
Yeah. Take it to the bridge.
I don't know the words.
Damn mind.
Come on now. That was good theme music.
That was great. I
Customer service has left the building, by the way.
I'm telling you, and there is a lot of truth in that statement.
Oh, man. Boy, do I have some stories for this one.
I can't wait to hear them. Let's hear one.
Oh, man. I used to work at I've said this before on the podcast, but for those of you who do not know, I used to work at a coffee shop, a big coffee chain, and I used to work kind of in middle management. And if there's one thing that used to always be like frustrating sometimes is how like I feel like customer service kind of comes second nature and to some degree for me. I don't know why. It must have been how I was raised, or I don't know how. But like is how some people just throw all like their house training out the window sometimes when like when people are upset. And it's like I know it's everyone says like the customer's always right and all that kind of stuff. Like I have always lived by the motto that like make the moment right. Like it's all about like try and resolve the situation without trying to escalate everything. And it's like you don't always need to match people's emotions when they come, hot and heavy and ready to go. Especially again, like I said, at a coffee shop, you don't want to.
You're supposed to be happy about receiving your coffee.
And not only that, it's early in the morning. Nobody really wants to be here, but we're all doing work. We're all, making a living. It's like, I understand you're upset. I understand you're frustrated. Let me help you fix the situation or help the situation any way I can to the best of my ability. And people sometimes, like people that I worked with just sometimes didn't understand that. And that was what was hard, was like trying to like be positive and come on guys, like we got this. But at the same time, like, oh, you're stressing me out.
But, having said that, who the hell wants to give a pep talk at 8 o'clock in the morning either? Like, I can't even imagine being you.
Yeah, the store would open at 5 a.m. So I was like, you had to be there earlier than that sometimes.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it was always nice to have a good team that was like they were on the same wavelength as you. And I'm not, by me complaining about this, I'm not blanketing. I worked at numerous coffee shops for this chain. And I had some teams that were like just very good. They communicated well. They were able to get tasks done, and at the same time also like talk to customers in such a way that made them feel welcome and wanted to be there. Because again, I they're buying a product. They're buying something.
Into the line, it's my money.
Yeah, exactly.
And I chose to come to your store
exactly
for a reason.
Right.
And a lot of times, especially with these coffee houses,
yeah,
and like certain phones, you may not be paying for a better product. You're paying for the service.
Right.
And you're loyal to that.
Right.
And so when I walk in and I want my coffee that I want every morning,
right,
I want it exactly the same way.
Exactly.
You know what that is.
Yeah.
And I love you.
Right.
I love you.
Right.
Yeah. Can you feel the love now?
Exactly.
But when I come in and you're having a bad day,
right,
and I'm having a bad day, seems like that can kind of get explosive pretty quick, right?
Oh, of course.
He just likes it when somebody yells from behind the counter, Mr. Fantastic, your coffee's ready.
I mean, wouldn't we all?
That is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here you go, Superman.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Right.
Right.
But customer service, man, people sometimes, and I mean, this is unfortunate, but in the service industry, they don't get paid a lot.
Right.
You got to be in a really high-end restaurant as a server.
Yeah.
To make good money. So,
usually it's just for tips.
You have all that's right. And you have all these labor disputes and people wanting $15 an hour because they think they should be paid more, and I'll do better at customer service if I get paid more. That's kind of not how that works.
Yeah, right.
But you already have people mad at the world. I mean, when I first started off, I remember one of my first jobs was McDonald's.
Right.
Customer service, absolutely everything. Mm-hmm. You had this time, get them out. This time, get them out. And we didn't have cell phones. Mm-hmm. Now you walk up, hello, in the window, hello. Yeah. And so you finally get pissed off and drive to the window and they're talking on the phone. Excuse me, I'll be there in a minute. You can't see I'm busy right now? Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why are you here? I'm here to get some food and I want to leave.
Right.
So customer service is definitely not the same as it was back in my day.
Well, I'm no rich dude. Honestly, I'm just your average, middle-class American.
Right.
And here's the deal. I don't have unlimited money. It's not growing on a tree for me anywhere in my backyard.
Right.
And so here's the deal. My parents always taught me, like, if spend your money on the things and on the experiences that make you most happy.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so if I have to be pissed off to go spend my money, I am not in a good place.
Yes.
Like that's what's frustrating is I don't want to walk in. And I'll take it to another level. It's not even just always people.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go and bag my own groceries, I wouldn't be coming and shopping at your store. I'd go to a farmer's market and do it myself. Like, if I go to your store, the least you can do is check me out.
I just tell them, I'm sorry, I don't work here.
Yeah.
But we have self-service here, self-back. I don't work here.
But I think we've given too much as a public. I think we've gone out of our minds. Like, why am I paying for this? Have you ever gone into a store lately and tried to ask somebody where to find something?
Did you hear that Walmart is closing Christmas Day this year so that both cashiers can spend time with their families?
Both cashiers.
That's a good one.
No, I'm gonna give y'all a prime example of this. Hottie Doctor and I just spent our first year anniversary together.
Aww.
But when thank you. When we first met, we loved this restaurant. We would probably go twice, maybe even 3 times a month. And it's a higher end. I don't have a lot of money, but Hottie Doctor, and we would go and we loved it.
Right.
Food was amazing. Service was usually always on point. We had our favorite little waiter and then he left to do something else and we got, different people. So we said, well, I asked her to marry me and we have to do 2 things.
The waiter?
No. Hottie Doctor.
Oh, gotcha.
That was
so we always have to do 2 things. Hottie Doctor doesn't like a lot of people around. So our engagement was just us, of which I did at this restaurant.
Right.
And then talking about it, we have to do something for me now. So I need a big party. I need a big production. I need my people around, of which not everybody showed up to that party.
I'll never live that down.
No, you will not. Limited spacing available, and you just didn't show up.
Yeah, sorry for the whole health problem.
Okay. Yeah. And so we wanted to do it at this restaurant. And I mean, we invited some people.
Right.
Some really important people from my work. And just in our lives, the people that introduced us and stuff like that. And the service sucked.
Oh, no.
We had almost 20 people there, maybe even a little bit more. I don't remember exactly. They gave us 1 server.
Oh, man.
I think it was his first day.
Oh, no. Come on.
And it was a production.
Of course.
I mean, I had somebody come in and doll up the room and make it really nice. And like I said, this was important for me because this was some important people in our lives, but also my work.
Right.
Some of the higher echelon from my work were there, and I wanted it to be really nice. So there's this really fantastic cake that the lady who did the design of the set or the whatever, she said, oh, y'all got to have this one. Great. They charged each person that was there a cake cutting service because we didn't order the dessert from them.
What?
Oh.
And I was like, well, when they told us that, I said, fine, just charge me for it. I'll pay all of the don't let the people there know that.
Right.
They still charged every person there. We got there, and to my left was one of the really high ups, and we both wanted a steak. Now, this was a Friday or Saturday night. I think it was a Friday night. Well, sir, we only have 1 steak left.
Let's arm wrestle. Let's arm wrestle.
Flip a
This
coin.
is a steakhouse, and you have one steak left. And so I said, "Sir, you take the steak. I like this other dish too."
Right.
He said, "Are you sure?" I'm sure.
Yeah.
And steak is one of their things they're known for.
Right.
They sent this huge steak.
Oh gosh.
And they cut it in 5 pieces. I'm a barbecue. Y'all know me. I'm a barbecue guy, steak guy. I have a catering company.
They pre-cut the steak?
They cut the steak into 5 pieces. It was like a bad piece of meat, and they cut the gristle out.
Oh no.
And it was overdone. And we've never been back. We called them. We tried to tell them, "Look, guys, y'all are our favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
But this is what happened." And no one would listen. And that's what got me. I understand stuff happening.
Yeah.
But now that we've called you and you're not listening,
you're
not receiving what we're telling you,
right.
And that
I
ticks me
can't
off.
stand that. And I walked in.
We haven't been back. We have,
of course not. Who would?
Right.
Like after you have an experience like that, my wife and I have 2 kids, and we walked into a very upscale brunch place after church on a Sunday, not too long ago, and we walked in, and the hostesses were like, "Do you have reservations?" And we're like, "Oh no, we didn't make a reservation. We didn't know we needed one for brunch."
Right.
And the hostess is now looking at the other hostess, talking about us as if we're not there, right?
No, come on.
Well, they don't have reservations, and they're this, and they're that. And you could just tell the snotty little attitude. So when the hostess is acting better than the customer,
right?
And like we're
looking down on you,
you're gonna have to wait a little bit, sir. I said, "You know what? We're not gonna wait even a second because we're not eating here."
I would have told the manager. I asked for the manager.
I did.
Right
I looked at my wife and I said, "When the hostess is that unfriendly,
right,
I will never spend my money in
the
that
person
place."
paid to be friendly and greet the people."
And what's sad is they've got everything going for them. They've got great food. They have an awesome atmosphere.
Right.
But I'm sorry, your snooty person at the door turned us off so bad, I won't go back.
And okay, can I tell a story of me trying to?
Of course you can.
I was going to say of me trying to diffuse a situation that was about to get really out of
let's
hand.
hear it.
So this was.
I like his stories from the coffee house. By the way.
Man, this was the better part of a year ago. This was kind of when COVID in our area was kind of becoming more loose before the mask mandate kind of hit back down again for a second wave.
It was opening up a little.
Yeah, but we still required indoors to have a mask.
Yeah,
and I believe it was a gray area with some restaurants and stores in our local area where I think there was a government mandate still, but I think certain shops and
they were given
opinions,
the choice. If you want to have the mask, you're okay to enforce it, but you don't have to.
But I think at this point in time, for the place I was at, you had to have it on. And it was posted on the door, and of course, a lot of times we would always try and be respectful about it and be like, "Hey, just if you have a mask, go ahead and put it on." And of course, we'll get you your order, your mobile or whatever you have. Well, I had this one employee of mine that was very. It's hard to describe this person because she had come from a line of fast food backgrounds and had just zero people skills when it comes to being polite towards random people is what it felt like. And so a lot of times I'd have to be like, "Hey, you can't say that," or "Hey, we need to calm down. It's just coffee. We're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay." But there was this one time in particular that this man came walking in, and he was one of those guys around here that just didn't like to wear his mask. And I believe he had one, but he always would walk in not wearing it until someone would say something. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times he was usually, if you said something, especially in a respectful way, he would always kind of obey the rules, especially if you, like I said, if you asked him, it's like, "Hey, we have a mask mandate in here, just please put it on." No big deal. No need to make a big deal out of it. It's going to be okay. I'm going to get you your coffee. Everything's fine. This one person in particular I'm talking about, she had caused such a stink about him putting his mask on and did it in a very aggressive and very rude way. And I didn't hear about it because I was in the back on my break or something. So I was, having some lunch or having a nice sit down moment of just peace for myself. And I get grabbed from my break by another one of our baristas there, and like saying like, hey, you need to come like talk to this guy. And he proceeds to tell me that she is like threatening him and is like getting very aggressive and saying some like very mean things about like, you have to put your mask on, or I can't let you in the door, like I need you to get out now, like all the like being very aggressive about it. And he was like, and I wasn't even that upset about it because I understand. He's like, I've been here before and I always forget and I have it with me and it's a bad habit. He's like, but what offended me was whenever she went to the bathroom and took her mask off and then proceeded to leave the bathroom and then not put it back on and go behind the counter and then keep working. Yeah. And he's like, then I was upset. Yeah. And he's like, and now I want to say something about it. Cause like, and I was like, man, I can't even imagine like the level of disrespect I would feel if someone got so up in my face about something and then would just like,
and then broke the rule
and then
themselves.
Just break the rules right in front of me.
Yeah.
I was like, and I tried to, and again, just like I always try to do in a situation like that, I was like, I can't even begin to apologize for that kind of behavior because like that is appalling, like to be honest. And so I told him, I was like, I think I gave him like a little gift card and was like, I know it's not much, but hey, like, I mean, your next coffee's on me. I apologize for that. That was really, really rude. And I promise that like people that are above me will hear about this. Like this is going to get talked about. And he was like, and he was even like in that moment, he was still like, I'm not looking to like I'm not looking to get anything out of you. Yeah. I just want her to like to be put in her place in some way.
Right. He doesn't want he wants it addressed.
Of course.
Well, sometimes, with all these levels of management and friendships, the upper management doesn't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to, that's why I asked you, did you tell the manager that?
Oh,
because maybe they don't know.
Right.
You need to let, somebody, I own a catering company on the side. I want to know.
Of course.
If my food's not what you think it should be, let me know. If my people aren't acting the way they should, let me know.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to create a great experience. My food is about an experience.
Well, that's what perplexes me, right? Is that you go through all of these expenses, right? You make your sign look good. You make your building look good. You pour money into paint and into nice floors and stripping and mopping and all of this stuff, bathroom supplies. And you get in there and you do lighting and you make sure that the customer experience is, and then you sit there and put somebody on the front line that is like totally ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, I have run into people in the customer service world, and here's another thing. Fast food? I think not. It's never fast anymore. No. I sit in fast food lines sometimes 10, 15, 20 minutes even waiting for food, and I never love it when they say pull up. Can you pull up, sir?
No, you don't have to. You can say no, thank you.
I know, but
right here.
What's frustrating is then you pull up and they bring you a bag full of hot fries. Hell no. Things are ice cold and they sat in a window,
I had a similar situation where I was with my lovely girlfriend, Mallory. We were going to go get some chicken at our favorite chicken joint. And they were like, pull up. And of course she was like, oh no, please no. And I think I was just getting food for her because we were like coming back from something. I had already eaten. It was some sort of circumstance. It was on the way home. And I was like, that's fine. I'll pick you up something. No big deal. And as we're like sitting there, she was like, oh man, I messed up. And I was like, no, it's going to be fine. Like I was trying to keep a positive attitude about it.
Chicken's the worst, dude.
It
takes a long time to
I
cook.
know. Oh, but that's the thing is like, it would like the thing is like the line was backed up and we weren't the first person to be pulled up.
Oh no.
There was like two or three of the cars and I didn't realize it until I was sitting there. I was like, oh, we're not the first people to have this same dilemma.
I'm sorry. I thought you were catching a breath. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. And so the guy comes out here with like some food. And he's like, you had the this, and this. And I was like, no, we just had like a box of chicken. That's about it. And he's like, okay, cool. And a few more minutes pass by. And Mallory's obviously getting kind of frustrated. She's like, we made a mistake. We should have just gone home or whatever. And then he comes back. A different guy comes back out and was like, so wait, what'd you have? And I was like, oh, God, please.
Right.
And I was like, just a box of chicken. That's it. And then he's like, okay. And then like he goes back inside, comes back out with a receipt and says, write down what you ordered. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I was like, oh Jesus. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
it's
no
gotten,
thanks, man.
it's gotten bad.
I
was like,
don't
oh,
do
dude.
that. If someone has to put, especially in some of the,
We paid for the food. We paid for it.
well, that's the point.
Right.
Okay, so please pull up. No.
Right.
Why not? Because if I pull up, your timer stops.
Yep.
And your upper echelon doesn't know exactly how long you took to give me my meal.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a timer for a reason. They want to know how long it's taking you
Right.
to get us our food. And so if we pull up, you're cheating.
Yeah, but you're screwed either way because if you sit there and act like a butt about it, they're going to spit on your stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't
And
think you have to be rude
thing.
about it. You just
No,
have
but
to be factual.
there's a real thing, and I always try to tell my wife this: don't complain and send your food back
man.
because they will absolutely do something to it.
But like
they will do something to it.
But there's always like I have always lived with the mindset of like there's always a way to handle it.
Right.
Like if you're going at it from like this is wrong and like you're gonna say it in such a way, then I can understand someone doing something about it. But like I mean, now again, I'm not saying that people are always perfect and they're gonna be nice to me, but I always try to be nice about a situation that's wrong because hopefully I'll get some sort of niceness in return.
Right. I
So
agree
it's like
with that.
so if my food was like utterly wrong, I would. It's like phrasing it in such a way of like, hey, actually, this is not quite what I ordered. I for reasons or whatever. Could I just get what I had originally ordered? Like, please. And you know, if that's gonna be a stink. I recently had another situation where I was charged double for an item, and she had insisted that it was not. But after adding it all up, I was charged double for something. And so I went back over there and was like, hey, could you show me, like, what the situation is? Because I'm believing that I'm going to get charged double for this item. She's like, no, I assure you. And I was like, okay, but just let's check, please. Just for my own sanity's sake. She got, like, her supervisor over, and he checked it, and it was actually charged double. And she's like, I severely apologize for that. And I was like, it's okay. We handle it. And I just want to be sure, like, I am in the right, you're in the right. I'm not blaming you for anything. And I could have been really ugly about it. And then, you know, but I was like, I feel like there's always choosing the higher road. It's just, I don't know. I feel like people don't do that nowadays.
The other day we, I think it was last Monday, you know, with all the stroke stuff, I'm seeing doctors almost every day, giving blood every other day. And
yeah.
So I had to give blood for some more lab work.
Running on a hamster wheel.
Oh, my God. Yes. Oh, yeah. I think I gave like 15 vials of blood. And I was not feeling the best. And she said, well, where do you want to go? And I said, let's go to IHOP. And I'm going to say it on air.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Sorry,
Okay.
you know we offend people on the
No,
show.
I'm here to
I'm gonna
offend
call
some
you
people
out.
today. So we went to IHOP and we sat down. There wasn't a lot of people in there.
Right.
Sat down.
Okay.
What do you want to drink? Well, I like a Diet Coke with light ice. Sir, we only have Pepsi here. Hey, that's great. All right, just give me a Diet Pepsi.
A diet equivalent with light ice, please.
Yes.
Right.
So we didn't see her for an hour.
An hour?
An hour.
Holy cow.
Oh my God.
And she finally came. Well, I guess it was about 45 minutes. She took our order.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like an hour later.
Right, yeah.
You're getting it.
Hottie doctor went to the restroom. She came back. Sir, we've lost your ticket.
How?
Here I am, you know, draining blood.
Wait,
you know, I need some orange juice.
Eye patch and all.
Yeah, she never came back to even check our drinks. Nothing.
Why?
We left.
Of course.
We left. And I'm like, and I said, get on your phone and leave a review.
Right.
Leave a review.
Well, that's what I've
Please.
started doing with restaurants. I've decided I'm not going to take up my stuff with you in store because I don't want you spitting my food. But what I will do is I will go sit my butt in my car in your parking lot, and I will write a review about it online because there's just some things that you're kind of like,
oh man,
you know. And what I get really upset with is if they start acting offended that you've told them there's something wrong,
right?
And it's kind of like we went to an Italian place when we took a trip back home for the holidays, and it was kind of like this food was so salty.
Oof.
That you could not eat it. I mean, you could not literally eat it.
Right.
I don't know if they mixed up ingredients or something, or
Someone
made some mistake,
the salt
or
shaker.
somebody just didn't realize that the salt. It was so salty that you could not swallow the stuff. Oof. And I was like, I mean, I know this is a weird thing, but if you want to take a bite,
right.
so that you believe me, because they acted like I was the problem.
Right.
Well, sir, we put the finest ingredients, and I don't care. Listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
The food is so salty, I can't swallow it. If you want to take a bite, have a bite,
please.
By all means, my guest.
Yeah.
But then they just started sending out stuff that looked like crap. I knew that my replacement meal just hit the microwave. It was all. They didn't bother to plate it right. It wasn't garnished. I mean, and I was just like, I am telling you right now, I'm not paying for any of this.
Right.
I'm sending it back. I'm not eating any of this because God knows what you did to it.
Of course.
And I did. I went out in the parking lot and I fired up Yelp and I'm like, here we go.
And I like how you hit on that. We're middle class.
Right. Yeah.
We want to take our beautiful women out, have a nice dinner, or go with our friends, have a nice dinner.
Right.
And you just want a good experience.
Yeah.
It's my money.
I don't want to spend my money to have a bad time.
And I chose you.
Yeah. Yep.
I chose your place. I chose your establishment for an experience.
Yeah.
Now,
I want to say this, on behalf of people who wait tables, I do not condone mistreating wait staff.
No,
I think that's awful.
Yes.
That you should not do that. And I really never liked dates who acted like that when I was dating. I never liked that.
Right.
If so, I'm very careful. I think it's a fine line, especially in that particular industry. But
it's not the server's fault that the food's late. Or the server's
of course.
fault that the food's cold.
And,
so you have to ride that line,
right?
Because they're just as frustrated as you.
Of course, well, because their tips rely on what the kitchen pumps out.
Exactly,
right.
And not only that, it's I have always looked at it as they're a messenger. It's like, don't shoot the messenger. Sometimes it could be them, and like they could have done something wrong, but at the end of the day, if something's wrong with the food, they're just there to transport it to you. It's like So
have you guys heard of an author named Betsy Sanders?
I have not.
Betsy Sanders, she was in the customer service area at Nordstrom's. And Nordstrom's, and she wrote an amazing book called Fabled Service, and I think it was Ordinary Acts for Extraordinary Outcomes. And her book was so interesting. I worked for one of the largest developers in the country who did multifamily apartment communities at one point in my life. And I was a regional for them, and we were really trying to drill down into our people the idea of customer service being the most key benchmark in who we were going to be as a property management company.
Right.
And so we had them read her book and then brought her in to speak. And she was extraordinary. The Fabled Service title comes from an instance at Nordstrom that they're not even sure really happened. But Nordstrom does customer service so well, everybody believes it does.
Okay.
Wow.
And the return policy at Nordstrom's is you can return it for any reason, anytime. That's the return policy. Doesn't matter if you have a receipt, doesn't matter what you have. If you're not happy with whatever you bought from that store, you can return it.
Wow.
And so that's what won them kind of this acclaim for that, because their philosophy is the customer's always right. So the guy that came in returned 4 brand new tires.
Wow.
And Nordstrom, of course, doesn't sell tires. And so the fabled service is that Nordstrom received those tires and gave him a refund.
Wow.
And so because the customer's always right. So anyway, I went to go check this out. So I went to the Galleria Mall in Dallas, and I was going through and I went to 2 department stores. I think they had a Dillard's there and they had Nordstrom. And all I did was ask directions. All I did was say, I'm looking for Luby's Cafeteria was my request, because there was one in the mall, and I just wanted to see what kind of customer service I was going to get, because I was not expressing I'm interested in your product.
Right.
I went to the Dillard's, and the person's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where that is. I've just been here a short time, and so I don't know the mall well and all that. So I got blown off there. I walked into Nordstrom's and asked their sales associate, who was in the cosmetic area of the ladies' cosmetic area. cafeteria.
Yeah.
And I said, can you tell me where Luby's cafeteria is? And she said, I absolutely can. Better yet, why don't I take you there?
Oh my God.
And she literally walked me from Nordstrom halfway across this damn mall and took me to Luby's and like said, here it is.
I was gonna make a joke that they like get a chariot and bring you there.
No,
but she did.
Well.
She did as well.
It was, and I'll tell you what, that's why they had that reputation.
Right.
And here's my point. Our money means something. And I feel like there's some things that are really flawed about our system. Number one, we serve too much food on plates. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our meals are too big. They're much bigger than they are in Europe and other places. And so give me a normal portion of food and charge me for that. And make your service awesome. Right. You know, spend the money and pay your people well and make sure that my experience is way up there. And I'm going to come back to you over and over and over because I love your experience.
But it's an experience. And that actually goes both ways. You know, when you're a customer or something, you can make other people feel good about things too. Yeah. I went in Tuesday, again with the stroke shit, but I went in for my MRI. Mm-hmm. You know, and you go into this big container and they have the sheet pulled over the thing that you're supposed to lay on, and then there's kind of like this other little sheet because you can get in the what do they call that where they tie it in the back and your ass shows the robe or gown or something.
Your bitty robe.
Listen, right on top of that was this little bitty packet of something. And I knew what it was.
Scary.
Right.
I knew what it was, and it's the earplugs because the MRI is very loud. Oh, and the ladies you could tell they were already having a stressful day. And I reached down and I grabbed it and I pulled it off and I said, "Thank you. These bed mints are great." And I sleight of hand put one in my mouth. They both come jump.
That's awesome.
You know, and you know, make their day. You know, it goes both ways. Customer service really does go both ways.
Yes.
And the whole rest of the time, because I had, three. I had an MRI without contrast, with contrast. So I was in there for an hour and some change. But because you set the tone,
right.
You know, we had a good experience.
Especially with a situation like that where you're like, you're like, I don't want to be here. No. I mean, it's like,
no, I don't. Right. But that's how I deal with stuff.
Of course.
If I can take you off and put you on your back heels in a good way,
right.
Let's all have it. We all got to be here.
Yeah. But if you think about it though, I mean, they've made so much of this stuff on us, right? Like every time I go to the fast food place, I have to make my own drink. Mm-hmm. Right, and I have to have the damn fountain spray all over me every time. Never fails.
Hey, these fast food people that want $15 an hour, McDonald's has 2 completely robot-run stores now, and they're working on more. Keep going. Keep pushing.
Right.
Keep pushing.
And you're not going to have any.
Because they're going to have 2 $15 an hour people to maintain the stuff in the back, and we're not going to need nobody else. The kiosks are here.
Yeah.
You walk up, you touch your own TV, your little screen here, you pay for it, your number is 264.
You're right.
And then it pops out with a 264 on it. They don't even need people anymore.
I want the customer service.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I want it.
Yeah.
I don't want a checkout myself. I don't want to make my own fountain drink. I don't want to get sprayed with your soda machine. I do not want to ring myself out. I don't want to ring my order up. I don't want to buy it on the app before I get there. I want you to serve the stuff is why I'm going to a restaurant spending money. Mm-hmm. And if I want it fast, I expect fast. I don't want to wait 25 minutes in a parking lot in spot 2 while you mess up my order just to tell me that you need me to write it down again for you. Like, I don't want that experience. Mm-hmm. And so here's the deal. I really think as the buying public, we need to take a stand on customer service and insist that it make a comeback. Right. I really feel like if we would do that, stop spending our money on these things and let these companies and their big corporate conglomerates and all the people that run their boards, figure out that what we really want is some dang service.
Right.
And consistency in your product.
Right.
That's something else too that's lacking.
Please. Oh my gosh. The place that I worked at, they made it super easy. It looked complicated, but once you really got down to it, especially if you got in like a little rhythm, it was not hard. It was really easy to make a quality product, and because again, the person is paying for it and paying a pretty high premium for it. So obviously, my goal was to make the best product that I could every time. So that way you can come in here and consistently get what you're looking for. I want you to come into this store. I want you to get what you're expecting, get what you're looking for, and then leave with a smile.
Mm-hmm.
And because especially in the morning time, I'm already here, and I've been here for probably the better part of an hour or two, but you're going to work. Mm-hmm. So your day's starting. My day's already here. So if I can just be that little glimmer of like, let's start your day off with just a little bit more happiness than what it normally would have been. And I can't tell you the amount of times, like, I have personally had people will say, like, whenever I've moved locations from one to another, or I've gone from,
they followed you.
Yes, either they follow me, or they're like, I'm going to be sad that you're not going to be here, honestly, because it has been a pleasure having you here and this atmosphere, and I always want to come in here and hope that you're here because I want to see you. And it's like, and I've had customers before that have said that have like, I was moving very far away from one store to another, and I had these old ladies that would always come in, and they sat in a little comfy like sofa section, and it was like a group of like older people, and they just were like, they would come there for their coffee. They didn't know anything about each other except for they would go to the same coffee shop together, and they would all sit there, and they would all like just converse about their day, about their life, but they had no other connection besides this one coffee shop they'd all go to.
Right.
And so they would like, and I was a part of that experience of like giving them that thing they were all paying for and that experience they were all having. And so whenever I was leaving and moving far away from them, I clocked out for my last shift, and I didn't have to, but I sat down there with them, and they gave me gas money, and they gave me nice cards with like handwritten notes in it. And they all, I had one old lady that was kind of like a grandma figure. She started crying and was like talking to me, and I was like, this is such a lovely experience. And I was like, and I know nothing about these people except for the fact that we're all in the same like coffee shop together. So
I have to tell you, in your generation, you are a rare find.
Yes.
And let me tell you, that's why you are as valuable as you are to any team, is because you care. Because there are a lot, bro, in your generation that are checked out. Yes. In my generation, you didn't do that. And it's because there was an expectation of customer service. And to Stoney, to you, even more so.
Even more so.
Like there was even a greater expectation.
When you got on a plane, you wore a suit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. They didn't have air conditioning in those planes all the time. You still wore a suit. The way you dealt with people was completely different back then.
But you only had a few jobs in your lifetime when you were, when in your generation. Right. And in my generation, maybe a handful. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, these guys have like
yearly jobs,
3 jobs and a side hustle and 6 coming. And, like there's like all of these different, they don't make a living in just one way. And so that's made it different.
I thought I personally had an old way of thinking whenever I was telling somebody, like, I want to at least stay at a job for like a year and some change, or a year or 2 before I consider like going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I want to have like that resume of like, I've been here for like at least a year. And I know that's even small compared to what you're talking about. Like you're saying in your generation, like that's tiny. But I was talking to somebody, and they were saying that like, oh, if I can have like 2 or 3 jobs in a 6-month period, that's good. Like, and I was like, because that shows that I can like, they justified it in some way that I was like, I would never jump between like 2 or 3 jobs in a year, let alone 6 months. Like I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
really what we're talking about in a sense is everything in life is a relationship.
Right.
You had a relationship with these ladies. And for them, it's something they looked forward to. Yeah. Everything in life is a relationship. We have one. Hottie Doctor and I have one. I have one with Magnus. If you have an enemy, you're still in a relationship with that person.
Yeah.
And, some people find comfort in that.
Right.
Some people take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And some people, no offense, in your generation, don't give a shit.
Oh, no, they don't.
Well, it's also and I'm going to boil it down to this too. It's the most selfish thing to be a terrible customer service provider. It really is selfish, because when you do that, you don't just bring yourself down, you bring the organization down. You bring the whole team. And that's the big thing that we were taught, and that we were trying to instill into our employees, where look, you may be having the bad day and it may be you giving the bad service, but who pays for that is actually everyone around you. And so just like you share the victories, you share those big customer service fails, and you can decide what you want to be fabled for. Do you want to be fabled for being, do you want to have the tag that the fast food industry has on it right now? Or do you want to be the fast food restaurant that stands out and says, when we say fast, we mean fast. When we say hot, we mean hot. And when we say customer service, it means a live person who smiles at you and hands up your thing out the window with a smile. That's all I want. I don't want anything else.
Nobody takes ownership anymore. Nothing for anything. They don't take ownership of it.
Because employees think they're doing the employer a favor for showing up.
But what you have to understand, a happy customer, and I read this somewhere many, many years ago, so if I get it off a little bit, I don't care. Screw you if you're offended.
This wasn't in like the red light district in Vietnam story.
Right.
No.
Okay, good.
You want to talk about customer service?
Or something about
Happy ending.
Sorry.
Stupid. A happy customer is worth about $5,000 worth of good advertising. Okay. An unhappy customer is worth about $50,000 worth of bad advertising, because an unhappy customer is going to tell absolutely everybody what
go
their
out of their way.
A happy customer will say, when hear the subject, let me tell you about this.
Go to so-and-so, ask for so-and-so.
Yes. But an unhappy customer will literally tell everybody they know. And because that person doesn't deal directly with that anymore, the company does. Like you said, the company's going to feel that repercussion, because now you've just pissed off 2 or 3 other people who are, I'm not going there again.
Never even stepped foot in the door and like, I'm not going to go in there.
No, you're right. And just like that story about, Nordstrom's taking tires, where can we please get back to the customer is generally right? Like seriously, I would not take my sweet time to return anything to you. Not come to you again and return something to you. I'm not lying. I'm not here because I want, my money back. I'm here because I don't like what you gave me and I need something else. Most of the time it's just as simple as smiling and saying, no problem, we got you.
Exactly.
Just as some assurance.
Can we just say give the customer the benefit of the doubt?
But don't argue.
All right, please.
Gosh, I don't want to be arguing. Like I'm already frustrated.
And that's what I would tell so many people, because it is always easy if someone comes at you with anger and comes at you with, like, aggressive. It is so easy to match their energy. But I was like, you have to be deliberate to do the opposite. If someone is aggravated and frustrated, you fighting fire with fire is not going to solve anything. It's just going to burn the whole place down with me in it, and I don't want to be here right now.
Yeah, but on the other side, like I said about the relationship, it goes both ways.
Right.
When you're in the service industry and you get a table with 18 people on it, and your bill is a couple $100, and they tip you $20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Really? Come on. Or they eat 90% of the meal and go, I didn't like it, take it back.
Yeah.
Really, that's people taking advantage of that too.
Yeah.
And you need to kind of look at that too. But you don't need to base your whole, idea of what customer service is on the few people that kind of, take advantage of it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I will say this, though. I mean, just make it right. Make it right. And you know what? Right. When you respond to something like this, take a big, deep breath and just smile and say, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And then say, let me see how I can help you with that. That's
right.
all.
Right.
Even if it doesn't turn out the way I want it to, if you will just do it in a pleasant way, cool. Like, I will say you tried to help me with everything that you could do. I understand your hands are tied and this isn't personal.
Or bring them into it. Right. Let's see if we can't figure this out together. Together. Let's bring it into a
unity.
Yes, unity.
Even, there was this one situation where this woman was in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I tried my best to still fix the situation as best I did. And I will forever think I will pat myself on the back for this one, because I don't even know how I did it in the moment. There was a younger girl that had become this middle management, my peer, she got promoted. And it was like her first few nights closing up shop. So it's her and a few, like 1 or 2 other employees there. And so she has dropped the money, done all the security stuff she's supposed to. And again, she has to like then exit the store and then lock it behind her to go. Well, this lady, in the process of her closing up, I think she did lock the lobby a little early to make sure it's clean and just come through the drive-through line to make it a little bit simpler. This lady apparently went through the drive-through, didn't get what she wanted, and tried to come inside. But because the door was locked, I'm assuming this lady thought that she locked the door on her so she couldn't come back in, and like had caused a fuss. And when I say like caused a fuss, was like kicking the door, and was like yelling,
angry,
yelling.
Well, those coffee snobs or something.
And it was late at night. And when I say like was like, and it didn't start off there. Obviously, she was like banging on the door, and was like shouting at her, and she was like she was scared, obviously, because she was also like pretty young, to be honest. And again was like calling her some slurs and was like saying some pretty aggressive stuff through the glass. Yeah, and it was like, and again, I trusted this person that was telling me like that had gone through this. So because she was telling me this story, I was believing what she was saying. She wasn't fabricating anything. So that's how I know all these details. She was saying that she was like banging on the door, was like trying her hardest like to jiggle the door open or whatever, but it was obviously locked shut, and she was like kicking the door and was causing a fuss, and of course called the manager, rightfully so, but the manager was like, just call the police, like that's just hands down. Well, the lady got escorted off the premises or whatever, and so this lady, and I'm in like the like kind of afternoon shift area, and I have kind of been told about this, but not to nearly the amount of details that I just told you. I got told there was a lady who got escorted away by the police last night. So just like keep an eye out. It's just, shit happens. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm about to clock out. I was working the morning shift the next day. So I was like, man, that sounds wild. What a fun time. Whew. I am in the process of clocking out. And this lady comes in here and is furious. And it's like probably like before lunchtime. And she is just like letting me have it. And it's like, I was here last night and it was just like this. And she's like, I got escorted out by the police. And as she's like saying some things or whatever. And again, her story's not really matching up. And it is obviously making her seem to be the victim. She's like, I didn't get what I wanted. I tried to get a second drink and they gave me something wrong again. I drove away and they locked the door on me. And like, again, so she's saying all these like things that is like, and again, she was like, and they were so mean. They were like ignoring me, or they were yelling at me, or I don't forget. Like I said, she was like fabricating some details, but she was like, and the police showed up, which I don't even understand why the police guys showed up.
Because somebody called them on your ass. That's why you started kicking the door down.
That's the thing. It's like, so, and again, she didn't say anything. She was like, I tried to open the door and it didn't work or whatever. And like I said, was like leaving out some very aggressive details. And of course, so I'm like listening to this and I'm knowing what I know, the fact that like this lady is the crazy lady that, of course, was trying to like, I know, like the thoughts going through my head as she's talking to me, like, am I gonna have to call the police now? Is she gonna hurt me? Like, do I need to like be on guard? And I choose to like take a calm approach and be like, okay, like, what went wrong last night? And I was like, instead of going through all this other details of all the other shit you went through, what were you upset about when you got here? And she was like, I was upset because the person in the window, it did not listen to me or did not respect me, or like kind of felt like she was disrespected in some way at the window and didn't get what she wanted. And then of course at that point I was like, well, let's go ahead and fix that. So I was like, do you have a name of the person? Can we like, and she like, I was like, give me a brief description. I know all the people who work here. If you just give me a vague understanding, like I can give you a name or whatever. And so she kind of was like describing, I was like, okay, I know what you're talking about. And I was like, and then even though I had clocked out, went behind the bar, had like remade the drink that she was looking for to her specification, gave it to her on the house or whatever. I'm just like diffusing the situation as best as I could, apologized profusely, even though I know that she was probably not right. And then like, it was that weird, awkward moment of like, she was still kind of frustrated and was kind of like wanting to get like a rise out of me. But I was like, taking like the lowest of low road of like, hey, like we're just going to handle this as civil adults here. There's no need to get the law enforcement involved. I'm sorry that happened to you last night. I don't understand what happened. And then, of course, like everyone in the back room, like, because again, obviously there's like talk amongst the people that are working there, and they're all relaying this back to like people in the back, and they're like letting everyone else know, and everyone else is like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God, like everyone's freaking out. And then, of course, she got her drink and was like, thank you so much. You've been such a pleasure to talk to. I appreciate the fact that you're like handling the situation behind the scenes. And I was like, I will make sure that the manager gets this. I'll make sure. And like I said, I'm like kind of BSing her, like obviously just to kind of like make her feel better, because so she wouldn't freak out. But like I'm saying all this stuff, and then she leaves and everything's fine. And then the manager was like doing like bookkeeping stuff and had no idea what was going on. She comes out and was like, what just happened? And I was like, because again, everyone's talking. And I was like, I handled it. She was like, what do you mean? Well, you handled it? And I was like, I handled it. I was like, she came in, was frustrated. I got the drink she was talking about. I discussed the situation. I told the manager who she was talking about. And she was like, oh, yeah, she texted me, was calling me all last night, freaking out, and was crying on the phone. And I was like, wait, what? And again, like, so I heard this whole story kind of pan out. And I was like, I mean, okay, cool. But I was like, but I just handled it. I don't understand. And then my manager kind of got frustrated with me because I took matters in my own hands. But
yeah, shame on you for diffusing a situation.
Here's the point. Here we come back to the topic we had a couple of weeks ago, leadership.
Yeah, right.
Right. Do you trust your people to handle it? You handled it.
Yeah.
You possibly kept a customer. You possibly put a customer in their place to where they know how they need to talk about, come back in and ask for something.
Right.
And then, that employee will get canceled if they were counseled, if they were wrong. Yeah. They can be fixed. If they were right, they can be reinforced with their actions.
But see, here's the point, and that's the point of the fabled service that Betsy Sanders writes about, is in her mind, that is fabled service.
Yeah.
Because you took and gave her a far different experience than what she had the night before. And because of that, she's going to remember that there's redemption in the service that's offered by that entire organization based on what you did. I really think your manager's a total dude for getting on to you because I think that's ridiculous when you go, because you know what? Those things that are negative are opportunities for fabled service. And that's what she would drive home is, when there's something not right, when something goes wrong and you're in a situation where the parties are not in a good place and they're not in agreement, that's the very opportunity that you're looking for in order to provide outstanding service.
Yeah.
That's your opportunity. And so it's not you shouldn't look at those opportunities as bad things. You should look at them as good things, because there's your chance to earn a bigger tip. There's your chance to make a customer for life. There's your chance to, do something good. But man, we've lost something. I mean,
we've
time.
lost a lot.
Because
we've lost more than something.
Most of the customer service I encounter out there, and I'm not kidding, most of it is my give-a-damn's busted.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Because there's no ownership. People don't take ownership in anything.
No.
If you're going to do something, be the very best at it you can.
And you ask the business owners and they'll tell you, do you know how hard it is to get people to work here?
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
So, until the people are thankful that they have a job.
And it's to such a point now, and you hit on it earlier, you should just be thankful I showed up for work.
Exactly.
I had people that again, were like just underneath me as far as like from a work standpoint, like a hierarchy, like I said, like middle management.
Oh, I thought you were sleeping with your fellow workers.
No, I'm kidding. But I had that work environment brought out the worst in me for the people that I was around. It was not hard work. It was not hard it was difficult at times, and I understand that. But the work itself was made streamlined, was made easy. It was not that difficult. And to have people complain about it day in and day out, and then to have them do a lackluster job on the product that the customer is making, like I would get frustrated at it because I'm like, it's not that difficult.
Because you have a give-a-damn. You actually have a give-a-damn, and you're trying to relate to people who don't have a give-a-damn.
I told you this a little while ago. I was like, I got told that I never said this to any of my employees' faces because I know I'd probably get, reprimanded. But the team I would work for at the last coffee shop that I was with, and kind of like the worst experience of it all, they were like, you have such an anger problem. And I was like, no, I have a you problem. Like, my problem is you. It's like the fact that, like, we have people coming in here and paying good money for coffee that you're just slamming together because you just are frustrated or whatever. And it's like, and again, it's not, you're not making it any faster than I can correctly. And you're also like, it's not a better product. And at the same time, you're also like disrespecting the customer that's there, spending their hard-earned money on it. And it's like, it's just caring a little bit. And the fact that you don't, it's like, again, then why are you here?
Right.
Just go somewhere else.
Well, and how they treat each other matters.
Right.
So the fact that you're getting frustrated in the middle of that is very telling. And I'll tell you this, I don't work in a coffee house and did it, but I do work in an industry that requires some good hospitality.
Right.
And that's what I tell them all the time is, look, it doesn't matter how many new people you get into this place. If you invite them into a bunch of infighting and disagreement,
oh man,
nobody's coming back.
Right.
Nobody's going to want that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, you got to choose that. Number one, it's not all about me and my give a damn. What it is about though is I need to give a damn, and I need to treat the people around me awesome.
Right.
All of them, including the customer, but also my teammates. And so I really feel like poor customer service is a sign of selfishness. Yeah. And I'm really worried about our generation right now, because I think that it is the big I. I think it's the most self-absorbed, selfish group of workers in our labor force that I've ever seen in my lifetime.
I agree 100%. Hottie Doctor and I, we're kind of foodies. We base every restaurant on your Caesar salad and your tiramisu.
Yeah.
And then your customer service.
Right. I always judge a good Italian restaurant by their Alfredo. I'm a big sucker for Alfredo.
Yeah. Continue. And so we just want an experience. When we go somewhere, we want an experience. We want a good one. This is a limited amount of time we have together, on this planet, all of us.
Of course.
We need to build as many memories, and I don't want to fill them up with crap.
Right.
I want to fill them up with good stuff.
Yes.
That's that. And especially since the stroke, and I hate to keep beating that dead horse, I want it even more now.
Well, that's the thing. All you entrepreneurs out there that are listening, I want you to hear this.
Oh, yeah.
We will pay more and be loyal to you if you will provide us good damn customer service, because we're sick of what we're getting. Yeah. And I think I speak on behalf of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. This is not, my wife would agree to this. I don't know about y'all, but there aren't many people that would disagree that the service out there stinks.
I wonder if you do like a poll of like, it is cheaper, but you're going to get like either disrespected or lackluster service. And then you're going to get the same exact product, but it's going to probably be a little bit more expensive, but you're going to like be treated kindly and fairly. Like, I wonder how many people would actively choose that.
You can do that right now. Would you rather go to the mom and pop grocery store and pay a little bit more, or go to Walmart and get a little bit cheaper?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. My mom still goes to the little store right behind her house, knowing she could go a half a mile away to the Walmart market.
Right.
But she still goes to that little supermarket right behind her house that's been there since they bought the house.
Yeah.
She knows all the people. They know her when she walks in.
That's the secret right there.
She
knows the people, because those people stay there. They work there because they stay and they like
build
it.
Relationships.
There is the local grocery store that I go to all the time. There is a greeter at the door, and that's all she really does. She's an older lady. She checks the receipts. Her name is Miss Janice, and she is always just such a pleasant, lovely lady. And she makes me, even though I don't probably like going to the store as much because of the reasons what we talked about, there's not a whole lot of customer service opportunities. I'm having to scan my own products a lot of times. It's frustrating. It's crowded and noisy. But this lady really does make it worth the trip sometimes to walk in there and see her smiling face.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, baby, how you doing?" And just her hello and how's it going is really awesome. And I didn't realize how much it impacted me until just in brief conversation as we were leaving. She was like, "You may not see me for a while. I'm going to get my knee replaced, so I'm going to be out for a couple weeks." And then Mallory was like, "We should buy her some flowers or something because she's so nice and she's always so kind." And then I was like, "You're right. she has always been here and is always so nice. And we got her some like flowers, and I wrote like a little card that just says like, I hope that we can like be a ray of sunshine for you like you have been for us so many times. And she got really emotional there for a second, was like, I appreciate that you guys come in here and have fun with me just like I can with you. Mm-hmm. And it was like, and I was realizing those little moments like that of like that she is making a difference for this whole experience for me.
Right.
Whenever she's not there, I'm like, man, I really don't like it here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Like, because it's just, she's just there.
But just think of what you're impacting.
Right.
It's more than just the product.
Yeah.
It's your whole day.
Yeah.
You are literally influencing someone's entire experience from start to finish.
Yeah.
And you just never know who you're serving.
Yeah.
You never ever know what they've gone through.
Man.
Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've gone into a place and eaten there by myself just because I needed to be alone and like get my head around life and stuff, you know. So you don't know what people are going through. So treat them well, treat them nice. And you know what? I really believe that people who commit to that will make more money. Yeah. I think they'll be more prosperous in life. I think they'll have more friends. I think they'll be happier personally than they will if they're give a damn's busted.
But it's the little things. Think about those two techs for the MRI. Every time they put those earplugs down on that little thing, they're going to think about that. And I hope that it created a lasting effect that makes them smile.
That's awesome.
You know, that's the things that matter today. We've had this conversation. It's the small stuff now. It's not the big stuff. Big stuff doesn't matter anymore. You can fake the big stuff. You can't fake the small stuff. Right.
Right.
The small stuff happens spontaneously. It happens without encouragement. It just happens.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important today.
To go back to what you're saying about you never really know who you're waiting on or that you're serving in some quality. I had there's this guy, and he was pretty well dressed. He had a bunch of guys with him that were all kind of like had this same sort of vibe that I do. And I was like, these guys feel like they're like my kind of crowd. And then so I just like cracked a couple jokes with him, was talking with him. And the lead guy was like looking for recommendation for like some tea or something. So I gave him my recommendation, made it up real nice for him. I told him to sit down, I'll bring it out to him. And he was actually kind of impressed like for a second, and like got him all his stuff or whatever. And they were talking about something, and I believe it was something like musical in nature. And I just like chimed in like my little 2 cents, just kind of jokingly around. And he's like, "Oh wait, you know about that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so I just kind of like have a brief conversation. And before I know it, he's actually a pretty well known like musician, like in like the like middle California area, or like I forgot where it was at specifically. And he was doing like a circuit of like church stuff, and I just like was joking around and talking with him, and he invited me to come out to like practice with him. And like there was a couple of weeks where like I got to go out to like this big church in the local area and just like jam out with these like really, really talented musicians.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, and it was like a really cool opportunity for me because I got to get my name out with some other people too. And it was just like a really cool thing, like again, like just to reinforce what you're saying, is like be careful who you're talking to, because sometimes
just
never quite know.
You really don't. And your life can change.
Right? Yes,
your life can change. Yeah. But let me tell you what: if you're not memorable because of your kindness,
oh man,
then you're gonna miss those opportunities. Yeah. And so you just never know.
That's crazy.
So
it's hard to hang out with a jerk. I should know.
I know. I bet he looks at himself in the mirror every morning and says, "You jerk."
Man. Well, you guys want to add anything else to this one?
I just want to say, for all of you people who do care and who do go the extra mile, thank you.
Yes.
Because you really do stand out in the midst of all of the other stuff that's going on. And if there's ever been a time when this world could use more kindness and better service, it's now. Mm-hmm. Let's love on everybody, and let's make sure that people do get good experiences, so that, because we don't know what they're going through or what they've traveled these past 2 years, and let's just be good at what we do. And as a country, by God, we have so much to be grateful for.
Yes.
And if you're out there and you are an exec or you're an entrepreneur, come up with businesses that really instill that into its people.
Right.
Create a culture of
Right.
fabled service so that we have better experiences for our grandchildren.
Yes.
So,
I'm gonna personally apologize on behalf of all the people who have been a jackass to servers who have actually cared and done
Yeah.
a good job. If there's anybody out there who has like treated you like shit in those moments, like just know that
yes.
There
I'm
are those
sorry.
that appreciate that
yes,
extra
I
step.
appreciate
Really
that
do.
extra
Mhm.
service.
And tip well.
Yeah, yes.
Dang it. For crying out
Please.
loud, people earn their living from
Right.
tips. So stop being a cheap ass and tip well.
Right.
And if they're awesome, tip extremely well.
Right.
Mhm.
Of course. Well, I hope we offended at least one person out there.
Pretty sure we did.
Yeah, maybe.
I tried.
I try. I keep trying.
I wanted to offend somebody.
We're equal opportunity
You
offenders.
offended me.
Good. Good. That's a
I'm
start.
mad. Anyways, if you're looking for us, we have a link tree /Retrospect pod, and you can find all of our social media links there, and as well as all of the podcatching platforms that you can find. Find us there. Just type in Retrospect.
And
You
we're on
should find
Facebook.
us. We're on
You can find us
Facebook.
on by Facebook. and
/Retrospect
There's
pod.
some the links there, and click on it.
It's always
Say
easy.
hey. Say you're offended.
Hey,
Curse at
please.
us. Be mean to us.
Right.
We can take it. Or if you have a subject you want to hear us talk about,
Yes, please.
let us have it. We'd like to talk about that and engage in conversation with you.
Exactly. But until next time, bye-bye.
See ya.
Peace.